How far back does this tradition go?
Hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, the Vikings used to ferment meat. It's just an ancient way of preserving meat.
Well before other modern ways of preserving meat, there was this.
There's a place in Europe you've probably never heard of.
What kind of weather are you looking for?
The perfect thing would be no wind, but that's impossible.
A collection of islands about halfway between Scotland and Iceland.
What are you doing now? You're reaching inside its body? Are you skinning it just with your hands?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Surrounded by Atlantic waters, a nation of about 50,000 with one of the world's most unique diets.
If you served this to somebody at an Applebee's in the USA, there would be a lawsuit.
I'm talking about the Faroe Islands.
Being so isolated with 200-300 miles of sea to the next neighbor, you don't get that much input of what's happening in the world. But now with internet and all that technology,
Now you can see what's happening in other countries.
Yeah.
And now you realize other countries have sunlight.
Exactly.
The Faroe Islands are not a country, but a self-governing nation under the sovereignty of Denmark.
I will give you $100 to eat this raw.
No.
110.
Maybe a little bit.
Its 18 islands are best known for their bird cliffs and unspoiled landscapes.
We're moving up. Oh my God!
And their position at the crossroads of the warm Gulf Stream and the cold Arctic currents create a continuous flow, making the Faroese marine ecosystem one of the cleanest on the planet for seafood to thrive.
Sometimes he's putting the lobsters on the piece of wood. What is the purpose of that?
The minimum.
And so if it's too short, you have to throw it back in? Oh, I see. So we'll see that one tomorrow, huh?
In this series, we'll be taking on unique animal proteins from the water, from the land, and from the air. In the sea, fishermen trap the most commonly eaten lobster in Europe, the delicate and sweet Langoustine.
The brain, would you eat that raw?
Oh, of course.
Let's see it.
Let's do it.
In these same waters, seafood divers risk their lives plunging into the icy Atlantic.
How much?
To catch valuable crustaceans by hand.
Yes! Victory! Do you see how many that was? That was like... He fell off. Sorry, it's not funny. The water pushed him over. I'm sorry, it's hilarious.
On the land, you'll find more sheep than people.
I heard on these islands there are 2 sheep for every person.
When it's time for the slaughter, locals age their meat in fermentation sheds until it rots.
For us, it smells like Christmas.
It's a way to preserve the meat that comes with a powerful stench few outsiders can handle.
It's crisped up, it's fatty and juicy. Everything looks great about it, except when you take a whiff. That is intense. There's 2 of them straight ahead. Oh, it's so far.
In the air, you'll find a range of prized bird species hunters track down by boat.
Oh!
Like this, the puffin, renowned for its deep, dark red breast meat.
Interesting, because it's really dark meat. It looks like a beef patty.
But perhaps the most controversial food you'll find on these islands.
Some years ago, myself and my wife was participating. We were helping with the
Good?
Yeah.
How much did you get on that day?
300 kilo, boneless, pure meat.
Wow. This is from the
pilot whale.
Whale meat. A subject so polarizing, few will even speak about it on camera.
I noticed one thing. You don't have whale on the menu.
Yeah, well, 1 second. Just because we want to focus on bacalao and we're a fish restaurant.
I came to the Faroe Islands to learn how the whale hunts work.
Right now we're on the bay. It could happen in a place just like this, right?
Yeah.
And to learn why today, amid protests and international condemnation, this custom still continues.
An experience like no other, unreplicable. Cannot replace that with something else. You could only take it away.
You're brave enough to try it alone?
Yeah, why did she say brave? Why did she say that?
For hundreds of years, the unique geography and weather of the Faroe Islands have produced one of the most unique diets you'll find anywhere in the world. And it all starts here.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Yourself?
I feel great.
Our first stop in the Faroes, Torshov, the capital city, and home to 40% of this nation's population. Today's breakfast begins here at Bitten, where local Jens Ivan guides me through my first taste of Faroese cuisine before I head out to the ocean.
What do you call this?
I think for an American you'd call it just a sandwich.
I think we'd say open-face sandwich, as opposed to a closed
that'll be.
face sandwich. How do you close
No,
a
that's
face?
just a sandwich.
Beef tenderloin is cleaned and smothered with thyme, rock salt, and pepper. In a pan, melt butter and grill the tenderloin lightly before tossing it in the oven.
How many restaurants would you say are in the Faroe Islands?
15. 30.
30 to 50.
Next, flour and beer butter form a batter that'll coat raw onions before they're fried.
You get many restaurants right here in the capital, and I'm not from a capital, so I have to drive like 3/4 of an hour each way to get to a restaurant. So that's more for twice a year, 3 times a year.
Time for the build. Load sourdough bread with lettuce, slices of tenderloin, remoulade sauce, grilled onion, a fried egg, a robust fried onion ring, pickled mushrooms, and another fried onion ring. Finish with a tiny bouquet of broccoli sprouts and shredded cheese. The sandwich and everything on it is served cold.
It's interesting because everything's kind of room temperature or even a little bit cold, but I think it's delicious. Super crunchy onion rings, interesting like cold beef, but then there's a kind of a Dijon mayonnaise sauce on there, which is super tangy and delicious. I love it.
Most of the ingredients you see in this dish are in fact foreign to the Faroe Islands. Strip away imported beef and pork, vegetables, and fruits, and the local diet is left with seasonal seafood, local lamb, and a few stubborn root vegetables.
So how would you describe Faroese cuisine?
Mostly dry and fermented. Thanks to this strange weather, you get a process of breakdown of protein, which doesn't rot the meat, it preserves it. We're drying lamb, and we're also fermenting lamb. It's also standard to dry whale.
Whale meat?
Yeah.
With breakfast complete, I'm ready to start today's mission. Collecting some of Europe's most sought-after seafood from the icy, treacherous waters of the Atlantic Ocean, starting with a particular species of lobster.
Just off the coast here, several traps have been set for an animal called the langoustine. The langoustine is the most important commercial crustacean in Europe, and today I'm gonna see how they catch it. Ahoy.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Captain Eimile has kindly welcomed me on board for our Langoustine harvesting tour.
He has the cutest, most adorable little steering wheel I've ever seen. It's like if you were a pirate in training.
Sailor,
This is our fishing guide, Kaj, once a fisherman who has spent decades on the open sea.
Are we going all the way out there?
just 5 minutes more.
Oh, okay, so it's not that far from where we took off.
No,
it's not
no.
far from land at all. If I fall in the water, I think I could swim to land.
You are in form, I can see. Good shape, you will swim. I'm too fat, I will die.
Langoustines have a large habitat. They live in the Northeast Atlantic, Northwest Africa, and the Mediterranean Sea. While many fishermen prefer bottom trawling in the Faroese fjords, the best way to catch langoustine is with a good old-fashioned trap.
So on each line here, he has 30 cages like this. The fish are hanging from the top, and then the seafood smell the fish. They come in here, get into the cage, and from there it's completely confusing as to how to get out. Most of them probably don't even know they're stuck in a cage until they get up to here.
Is it a good day?
The langoustine is also known as the Norway lobster or the Dublin Bay prawn.
It is like a big crayfish. Actually, it's amazing that these are lobsters.
Despite their slim bodies and an average length of 3 to 7 inches, the langoustine gained their spot in the lobster family thanks to their long claws and meaty tail.
This is kind of an amazing device used to classify and organize all the different lobsters. And then sometimes he's putting the lobsters on the piece of wood. What is the purpose of that?
That's the minimum.
And so if it's too short, you have to throw it back in?
Yeah.
Oh, so we'll see that one tomorrow, huh?
Langoustine season comes in September and lasts for about 9 months. In a good year, over 40 tons of these lobsters are pulled out from the Faroese Sea. And if you're on board, you may witness a few bonus creatures too.
Look at this. Here we have a beastly hermit crab. This guy has just been chilling out on the bottom of the ocean for decades. I've never seen a hermit crab this big in my life. It jumped out. Get back in your shell, you're so dumb. All right, you go in here. What was that about? How did he live this long?
With a marine zone that's 200 times bigger than its own land, the Faroes fishing industry represents up to 95% of their total exports.
Dude, this is a, they call it like a pie crust crab. I had this in Vietnam, but they're actually from this area. Are you allowed to keep other seafood?
Yeah, but it's too small.
For sure, this one's too small. It's like one bite of crab.
As the last langoustine of today's batch settles in its Japanese pod hotel, the sorting boxes are secure.
If they don't fit, just kind of...
Yeah.
The fish traps are tossed back in the icy cold waters, carrying with them fresh bait to lure in some new gluttonous lobsters. Eimile and Kaj are wrapping up their day, but not me.
Boom. Chef.
Yes.
How do you do?
Very good.
This is Montes, head chef of Rocks, the sister restaurant to one of the top 50 restaurants in the world.
What do you think of this particular langoustine?
I think it's a really great size. I usually measure them up by my hand, so if it's as long as my arm, I'm pretty happy.
In the USA, live Maine lobster is already expensive, and langoustine is twice as expensive as that. But no matter how much you pay, you'll never beat the experience of fresh seafood plucked right from the ocean.
Do you have a special recipe you can show me right now?
Oh yes. So basically you're just gonna need a langoustine and a knife. We're just gonna try to make it as less painful as possible for the langoustine. And then finish off with the tail.
This is remarkable. You can really see the anatomy of the lobster right here. This is the cleansing system of the lobster. And then you see this just beautiful translucent meat of the tail. So, where's the soy sauce? We just go like this, huh?
Yeah, I would just dig in with my fingers.
The texture is so much different when it's uncooked. You can feel all the separate little tissues.
The best part is it's still pulsating since it's straight out of the ocean.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna go for it. Oh. Oh, it's so delicious. Amazing texture, like it's not too limp or mushy.
It has a bite.
Yeah, it's got some bite to it. And then it's just naturally sweet.
Salty, minerally.
Oh, that's wonderful. I could eat about 100 more of those. I think he knows what I'm thinking. What are some of the ingredients that you can get here that you can't really experience in the same way in other countries?
Definitely shellfish. Faroe Islands, they have such a great fresh shellfish. You can just go to the ocean, pick it out before work and cook with it a few hours later. And of course, sea urchins, very sweet, very mineral.
I'm gonna be heading to your restaurant soon, but actually, I'm on a mission to find some sea urchins of my own. Is he coming to that? Are you coming to that? Great.
While Montes heads back to his restaurant with a fresh batch of langoustine, I set off for some more sweet deep-sea creatures. Only this time, there's no boat, no traps, no nets. In an effort to catch giant horse mussels, we're gonna scuba in waters that are near freezing. Well, someone's gonna scuba, and his name is Björn.
Sir, put it there. Good day to you. I like your outfit.
I like yours too.
Thanks, I look like a red marshmallow.
Yeah.
You ever hear about the high-paid, dangerous work of underwater welders? Well, that's what he does.
They always say that's one of the highest paying jobs.
It's not true.
Oh, okay. Diving here, it's not easy.
No.
I have my diving certificate, I have my PADI certificate, but I can't come here, I can't dive. I have to be locally trained to dive here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's small islands. You're actually in the middle of the Atlantic. It's hard currents and you can be taken away. Even people that's been diving for years have trouble diving here.
On one hand, the crossing of the warm Gulf Stream and the cold Arctic currents create great trouble for divers. On the other hand, their continuous flow make Faroese marine ecosystems one of the cleanest on the planet for seafood to thrive.
In just a moment, you're gonna head into the water. What are you hoping to find?
I'm hoping to find some horse mussels and some sea urchins. The weather is okay, so I hope we get a little bit.
Oh, all right, that's optimistic.
It's a terrible idea to expose your skin to the 44-degree water of the Faroes. So divers here opt for dry suits with a full face mask and gloves.
Right now he's getting prepared. He's got his flippers, he's got his net. Now, as a fun joke, I've switched out his oxygen tank with laughing gas. He's gonna find this hilarious. This might seem easy enough, but all his gear put together is probably 50 to 60 pounds. And that's without the pounds and pounds of seafood that he's about to collect.
In shallow water, European edible sea urchins and northern sea urchins are a familiar sight. Like many other species here, the consistent year-round water temperature allows them to grow slowly, over time developing much sought-after flavor.
He might be a good underwater welder. He'd be a terrible underwater spy. Anytime you need to know where he is, you just follow the bubbles, not to mention the yellow tank sticking out.
At a depth of about 3 feet, under a dark layer of muck, you'll find giant horse mussels. These oblong mollusks can grow up to 8 inches in length, and they're packed full of protein.
It's been about 30 minutes down. He's making his way to me, and we're gonna see what he got.
On a good day, Björn can collect 400 to 800 pounds of seafood from the ocean floor.
What, I mean, just, what's he doing? Oh, it's probably hard to stand with that water. Yes, what you got? Yes, victory! Do you see how many that was? That was like, sorry, it's not funny. The water pushed him over. I'm sorry, it's hilarious. Bro, well done. Hello, morning. Where do we start? What do you like more?
Definitely the sea urchin.
Here, they're small, but with tiny little spikes. Now, would you call that the mouth or the butthole?
The beak?
Oh, that'd be a mouth there. Where does it go to the toilet out of?
The same place.
Oh, I've met some people like that.
It was nice to meet you.
It looks beautiful. You can really see the separation of the eggs. So sea urchin is something that I thought it was cool to eat because Japanese people eat it and it's expensive. And then I had it in Japan and I kind of pretended to like it. But I didn't really like it because it was really metallic. But then I had one in Vietnam. I liked that. And I realized they're kind of different around the world. So here, I'm gonna try this with an open mind and see what I think. Briny, rich, fatty, no weird metallic flavor. Man, just the Japanese ones are weird. Very smooth, creamy. At the same time, you can feel the separate eggs in there, and then you can feel them all congeal into one soft, fatty, rich consistency. It's really satisfying. Now I want sake. So as a hobby, you do this, but you also make money doing that, right?
Yeah, I'm selling this to some of the local restaurants in the Faroe Islands and a little bit privately. Like
the black market.
No.
This one here, this is a horse muscle. Is this something you can eat raw?
I've never tried it.
I do think we should at least open them and take a look, because I have never seen muscles this incredibly huge before. Look at him move, he's getting in there, he's trying to kind of shiv it like he's in prison. And that whole thing, so it's like a bright orange muscle inside.
This is actually the roe.
Oh, really? It's an intense smell, almost like ammonia. This is the muscle where everything attaches right here. This is like an egg sac. And then right here, you can see really these individual eggs inside that sac. There's like half a pound of meat in this one muscle. I've never seen anything like it. What the f? It's gloopy. There's so many different organs in there. It does not seem safe to eat raw.
I believe you could.
Should we?
I think so. Maybe some of the roe.
All right, let's do it. He's taking his pocket butter knife. He's cutting away some of the eggs, so we'll share that.
I'm not so sure about this.
What's the worst that could happen? Explosive diarrhea?
Food poisoning?
Sure, cheers.
Cheers. Well, almost like an egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sulfury. It's off-putting. Oh, and then at the end, it's tangy and kind of a bit metallic.
Yeah, very.
That's quite a journey. Very complex, like a fine wine. Do you regret that a little bit?
Very much.
Yeah, me too.
To learn the actual proper way to cook and eat a horse muscle, I'm heading to Rock's restaurant to meet back up with Montes.
Montes, today I went diving. Do you believe me? Well, I'm lying. I watched somebody else go diving, and this is what he got. Oh, yeah. Okay. Take a look.
All right.
What do you think?
I think they look great.
What are you smelling for?
I'm just smelling for freshness. If I get any fishy smell, I would not use them. And if they are open after I'm pressing it, they don't close. It might indicate that they're dead.
Or they gave up on life.
Could be.
Which is equally as bad. Okay. I'm sorry. Looks the same as what I saw. So this is the egg, right?
No, it's more like a flesh of it.
Oh, so I thought that was egg. So basically we're going for this orange part right here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the preparation for horse muscles here?
We're gonna steam them first, then we're gonna cure them, and we're gonna serve it as a classic French dish called roulette. It would take half an hour, maybe 40 minutes.
While Montes is working on the main course, he sends out an appetizer. Langoustine in Bloody Mary sauce. The langoustine is chopped in half, dressed with oil, and lightly smoked. The Bloody Mary sauce is on deck, but missing one crucial component, the vodka. Faroese vodka is brought to a boil and set on fire until, sadly, any chance of catching a buzz evaporates into thin air. The vodka joins the sauce, toss in parsley and celery, and send it to the stovetop.
This right here is my first taste of rocks. So these are a little bit smaller than what we had on the boat, and it's gonna come out so much more easily now that it's actually cooked. I'm gonna sop it in a little bit more of that Bloody Mary sauce. Interesting. Super sweet, incredible texture, nice bite to it, a little bit of acid from the tomato, and then something a little bit spicy in there too. The problem is, I could eat 1,000 bites of this. I'm not one of those people who goes to a fine dining restaurant and takes that like micro bite and goes, ah, very nice indeed, ah. I want more, it's so good.
Soon, Montes will work his magic, turning this orange slime into a classic French-style dish. But first, this. An ocean perch is cured overnight and sliced into sashimi-sized pieces. Give the meat a brush of seaweed oil and align it with the fish's backbone. Finish with exo paste made from caramelized scallops, caramelized ham, chili, garlic, and ginger. Complete the table with a bowl of gooseberry sauce and a dish of pickled vegetables.
Oh, it does have a smell to it.
Oceany.
Oceany, yeah. I want to taste this sauce.
Oh wow, that's hard to describe. A little sweet, a little tart.
So what I would suggest to do is just add everything to a bowl and eat everything lightly coated with the sauce.
Or completely submerged. I love how it's become so dense from being cured.
It's more tough than just a fresh fish, so it has more bite, but it's also creamy at the same time, which I really like about cured fish.
The broth, it's like a hot soup made from berries. The salad gives it a little bit of texture and some vinegar too. The fish itself has some of the effect or flavor from being cured, so it's a fun combination of ingredients that you don't usually see together, at least I don't. All right, let's talk about this. This is the horse mussel. So when people order horse mussels here, how many do they get?
They're gonna get around 1.
So basically we're going for this orange part right here.
Yeah.
What are the other parts in there?
So we have a beard that they latch onto each other and rocks. So that's how they stay attached to the bottom of the ocean. Then we have the muscle that keeps horse mussel closed. And then we have some tendons that run through the whole thing. That's how it attaches to the other parts of the shell.
You seem like an animal biologist that failed his test exams and was like, fuck it, I'll cook. Coming out hot from the steamer, the mussel is set for a quick trimming.
So basically, we would try to avoid the main muscle. It's too tough. And we would try to avoid the tendons and the beard because...
Well, yeah, that looks nasty. I don't want to eat that. The mussel meat is portioned into small cubes, seasoned with a pinch of salt and smoked. In the meantime, the horse mussel offcuts are pan-fried to a golden brown, then blended with egg yolk and olive oil to form an emulsion. I like that you're using every part of the mussel, from nose to tail.
Yeah.
Mix the emulsion with smoked mussel meat, sweet Sicily, chives, parsley, and lemon juice. Then place the mixture back in its home. And adorn it with crispy kale, more smoked horse mussel meat, parsley, blanched kale, and dry seaweed. It's a transformation more impressive than Adele's. This unruly mollusk has gone from this all the way to this. This looks incredible. What is the way to eat this? You just scoop it up and eat?
I would just scrape it and put it on bread and just eat it as a sandwich.
Do you think it's too strong?
It has some punch to it. You can try it out.
I'm gonna try just a little bit like this first, just to get the real taste of it. Oh, it's smoky, it's creamy. Like there's just a hint of that oceanic brininess, just like a distant memory of the ocean. What percentage of this is still the mussel? Because I know you put other ingredients in here too.
Maybe 70 to 80% of a horse mussel in here.
Really?
We just played with the textures.
Yeah, because now it feels like a horse mussel spread, really. So I'm gonna put that on some of this bread here. Oh, this bread is to die for too. Oh, it is toasted and greasy. And this is a beautiful combination. I can see why you'd want some bread to balance it out because it's very rich, but this is tremendous. Super creative. Is this your own take on this or have you seen this somewhere else?
That's my take on it.
I have a huge reveal right now. And that reveal is that you're not from the Faroe Islands. You're not Faroese at all, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm from Lithuania.
As a chef, what on earth drew you from Lithuania all the way here to this country of only 50,000 people?
Take me where your river flows.
I was just finishing my cooking school and I saw a restaurant, Cox, sister restaurant of Rocks. I just went there as an intern. I just have a really good time and have fun using Faroese ingredients. I really loved it and decided to stay.
And so how long ago did you come here?
It's been 4 years by now.
How long do you think you'll be in the Faroe Islands?
It's really hard to tell. I really loved how remote and wild the place looked like. Just have a really good time and have fun using Faroese ingredients and educate people about fun ways of cooking them. I was looking for adventure basically.
You and me, let's fly away somewhere past the Milky Way. Maybe we'll return someday. Don't wake me up, don't wake me up.
Hunting pilot whales here in the Faroe Islands goes back generations. These whales are an abundant source of food, once critical to a place where agriculture is nearly impossible.
I've never tried whale in my life. I know you've had it once or twice before.
Once or twice? Hundreds of times.
But in recent times, animal activists have condemned the practice, staging protests in an effort to save the whales.
If you try to look with the foreigner's eyes, you see that it's very, very rough. Lots of blood, many crazy men shouting and things like that.
The reality now is that people don't have to do it,
no,
but they still continue. Why do you think that is?
In order to understand the locals, I'm gonna eat like a local.
What is the most you've ever gotten one day?
200, 300 kilo. That is pure meat.
I'm on a mission to discover why this practice still goes on, and if their actions today could lead to these animals going extinct forever.
Is this sustainable?
Before you can understand whaling, you need to understand how important the ocean is to this small collection of islands. Fishing and fishing products account for 95% of this nation's exports. Among those is salted cod, or bacalhau, a daily staple for many islanders.
Here, what they are specializing in is salted cod. What do you know about cod?
A lot.
Tell me everything.
This is Bierski. For decades, he was a sailor and a fisherman.
I have been fishing a lot of cod, you know, thousands and thousands of tons of cod.
This morning, our breakfast is a 2-course bacalhau meal, starting with a soup. The salted fish is soaked in water for 48 hours to rehydrate and reduce its brininess. Then it's cubed. Cubes of salmon, potatoes, carrots, and bacalhau are piled in a bowl with parsley sprinkled on top. The colorful heap is submerged in a steamy soup made from fish bones, sriracha, cream, salt, carrots, onion, and thyme.
I'm gonna try just some of this broth. Oh, that's delicious. Oh, it's so buttery and creamy. It tastes like a gravy.
Yeah, tastes very nice.
The fish tastes good. Still very salty, but not too salty. I like it.
There's very, very, very little of it, huh?
You would put more cod?
Yes, of course.
Are most people on the island eating cod as kind of a daily food?
I think so, yeah.
And how many protests were on the island for people against cod fishing? I mean, they're alive, they're creatures of
None.
Oh.
I have never heard any protests.
Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah.
Boom, main course right here. Does this look familiar?
No.
Well, it probably shouldn't. You know, it's elevated food.
Our main course starts with mashed potatoes and salted fish whipped together. Complete the dish with mixed seeds, pickled gooseberry, and something I call Faroese fish sauce.
You know what this is in the middle, right?
Fermented sheep tallow.
So it's fermented too. If I eat it just like...
No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, no, that's very little. You can eat that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's pure fat, pure oil. It's almost a buttery texture, but it's between being rancid and like fermented like a soy sauce. It has a wonderful flavor to it, but it's just too much to have straight. I think you need to mix it up a little bit. That's awesome. Really packed full of flavor and very rich. And there's like pickled gooseberries that are a little bit sour too. Is that what you grew up on? Fish, potatoes?
Yeah.
When it comes to types of fish, are there any fish that are off limits?
No.
I'm a little disappointed because I heard that there's whale meat in the Faroe Islands. Well, there's no whale meat here at this restaurant. Do you think it's illegal to sell in restaurants?
I don't know about that because I wouldn't go out and eat whale. I do it at home.
A bay dyed scarlet. Lines of massive whale carcasses. When the topic of a Faroese whale hunt, known as a grintadrop, is mentioned, these are the images that appear. Bjarski has also partaken in dozens of whale hunting missions throughout his life.
How old were you the first time you saw or partook in the grint?
Maybe just after I could walk, or maybe my mother took me with her to watch it.
Bjarski offers me a more profound look at the tradition by bringing me to Burr Bay, a grint destination now clear of its occasional red-stained waters.
Could you show me exactly how it works?
A grint always starts with a sailor, spotting a pod of pilot whales wandering into the Faroese fjords.
Then you have to send a message from boat to boat until it reached the land. And then they were running and crawling Grindabo all over the villages.
Upon receiving the call, the townspeople drop what they're doing and rush to the beach with their whale harvesting tools. Meanwhile, the chasing has begun offshore. Fishing boats on shore work as a flotilla to herd the pod of whales toward the beach.
When you come close here, you make noise. You can use your screw, the propeller on the boat.
And what's the purpose of that?
Scare them, and then they come up onto the shore. So you weigh out into the sea and have a hook, and you put it in the nose hole. And then you drag them in this way until somebody reaches and kills them.
Each whale is put down with a cut behind its blowhole in order to sever its spine. Then each body is meticulously measured and lined up on the beach, waiting for the townspeople to claim their share of the catch.
How many times can it happen in a year?
Very, very, very different. It can be none, it can be 10, 20 maybe.
The Faroe Islanders never deliberately set sail in search of pilot whales. A grint only happens when a whale pod comes too close to the islands. This has been the tradition for over 1,200 years. But ever since the 1980s, this millennium-old practice has been challenged by international scrutiny.
Why is no one protesting cod?
They don't see the kill. Here you see it. The sea is red and you can see it for hours after the kill.
I'm filming a show here on the Faroe Islands. If the Grint happened now and we showed up to film with our cameras, what do you think would happen?
They will throw you away.
They wouldn't be happy about that.
No, they're worried about these people are bringing wrong information to the world about us. They tell we're chopping the whales up in pieces and doing these things for fun and we don't eat it and things like that.
Today, with 80% of this nation's grocery products imported, it's fair to ask if it's necessary to continue whaling for food.
This is food from this area. You don't have to bring your food with ships and airplanes and then polluting the air. You eat the food that belongs to your area. You understand that?
I totally understand. Eat seasonal, eat locally, stop pollution, stop flying or shipping peaches from South America to Thailand to be put into a can and then be shipped back to the USA.
Every documentary about Faroese whaling stops here. But for me, it's not enough. I want to visit a local family, learn their story, and find out why the Faroese people won't replace whale meat in spite of its controversial reputation.
Here are some beefs.
What's beef mean?
The steaks.
So just pure meat, no blubber, no fat.
Like your favorite serial killer, Ian's normal appearance suggests nothing about what he has inside his fridge. Though in this case, it's a load of whale meat. This is a steak from a long-finned pilot whale, the most common species caught in the Faroe Islands.
Do you have any other ones?
Here is dried.
The color of the dried whale, it's amazing. It is like black.
As whaling here is not a commercial event, the whale meat is divided among the Grint participants. The most Ian has ever received from a single Grint was 400 pounds of meat.
So how long can you keep this?
7 years.
What's the oldest one?
I don't have this for that long. It don't get better.
Yeah, it's not like wine, right?
Before we sit down to a whale-heavy meal, Susanne, the lady of the house, gives me a tour of today's uncommon ingredients.
You have so much behind you right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you could like pick up a dish and tell me about it?
This is the fresh meat, no fat in this one.
Not much of a smell. The color is so dark, almost black. That is so interesting. And that's not been dried or cured or anything like that, but it was maybe frozen?
Yeah.
And then this.
Fresh blubber.
Oh, the smell is so unique. It's so interesting. It's a little briny. Maybe it smells like if I wear a gym shirt and then I put it on the ground and I forget to hang it up and I smell it the next day. Sorry, I'm not trying to insult your whale blubber. This is the actual skin of the whale. And then you have a good 2 inches of solid fat and then the protein. This huge layer of fat is what coats the entire animal to keep it warm in the water. That is remarkable.
In Greenland you eat this raw, but we always cook it.
You know what I'm thinking. Do you want to try it raw right now?
No, not this one.
Turns out, I can't eat blubber that's not been cooked, but this has been cured.
So this is soft preserved blubber. So you eat these together with the dry meat.
So your husband showed me this, but that was wrapped in plastic. This is just dense, it's pure protein. It's like a brick. It just smells like normal dried fish. Can I rip it in half?
You can try it, but I don't think you...
Oh, you're...
Not more.
Oh, I thought I could. Oh, I'm spoiling it, sorry.
The dried whale meat and salted blubber are sliced thin and laid with potatoes. This will be my first taste of whale meat.
This is the most black meat I've ever seen in my life. Susanne, it's supposed to be that black?
Yes. Are you scared or something?
Yes, a little bit. Oh, that's so interesting. It's so weird. It's yummy.
It is.
The texture is amazing. Kind of dense, but soft. The taste is like they fused together a cow and a fish, and then it creates this kind of flavor. It's beefy and fishy somehow at the same time. And then it just has a very strange, bizarre aftertaste that I can't really pin down. It's not like anything I've ever had before, but as far as dried meats go, it tastes excellent. Susanne, where did you learn these recipes from?
From my grandmother, my mother, my father. We have always used it like that.
That's how you know it's good. But next, we have the blubber. Now, I've been told to cut the blubber with other food. Can I eat the blubber alone?
You're brave enough to try it alone?
Why did she say brave? Why did she say that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. It has a slightly kind of rancid smell to it. Oh, I know what it smells like. It's like my wife's feet when she takes her socks off at the end of the day. I mean, I love that smell. Wow, it's so oily.
Yeah?
But I gotta say, the smell is more powerful than the taste. The taste is nice.
And it's not not heavy oil, it is light oil.
Yes, I agree. It's not like pork. It's not like a buttery, thick oil that coats your entire mouth. It's like a lip gloss. I can start to see how this is something that people wouldn't want to part with, because that is an experience like no other, unreplicable. Cannot replace that with something else. You could only take it away.
While I'm starting to understand why Faroese people don't want to part with this unique delicacy, one important question remains. Will this tradition eventually lead to the extinction of an entire species? Today, Susanne welcomes us with a special dinner, with 2 main courses consisting largely of whale meat. First, she boils whale meat with salt for an hour before adding more ingredients.
How many times a week are you preparing whale?
Not every week. Actually, sometimes once a month. When you have children, especially girls, we shall not eat so much whale meat because of the metal, this heavy metal.
Like mercury?
Yes.
Oh.
When the meat is soft enough, she adds in potatoes, chunks of fresh blubber, and salted fresh blubber.
I was trying to figure out the smell earlier when you were cooking. Now I can say it's kind of like cheese.
We knew the smell before we knew the cheese, so...
We will say the opposite way.
We will say the opposite way, yeah.
Okay, so this is so similar to what I already experienced with my little appetizer. You've got the fat, the protein, and the carbohydrate.
Yes.
I was told I ate it incorrectly earlier. Actually, I forgot to add the potato. So I'm going potato, protein, fat. Wow, it's such a powerful taste, a lot of flavor. It's something very new to get used to, so I'm trying to enjoy it, but I'm trying to understand it at the same time. Earlier today, we tried some of fermented sheep tallow, and it was like this flavor bomb. It had so much power and so much flavor, and that's kind of what I experienced something similar when I'm eating this. When you are sectioning up a whale and butchering it into different pieces, how many different cuts are there?
I don't know actually, but it is the dry one and the fresh one and sticks.
Like with beef, whale steak seems to be a favorite here. Susanne's personal recipe starts with a whale steak marinated in vinegar and water overnight.
It's cut very thin.
Right, it's like a flat steak, but it's just completely black.
Susanne cuts the steak into smaller pieces, coats them with a flour and pepper mixture, then pan fries them with slices of onion.
On the island, what % of people here do you think eat whale meat?
It depends where you live. I think in this village, almost everyone. But if you are in Tórshavn, I don't know.
To complete the dish, she adds beef powder and boiled water, then lets it simmer for half an hour.
Do the young generation eat it too?
Yeah, it was going down slowly. And then when we had this confrontation from the international community, there were some people here who came to the conclusion that no, they are not going to decide what we shall eat. So there were many young men and people, patriots, who said we will really keep our tradition.
It's a completely different experience.
Yeah?
I thought it would just be so dry. I mean, it's just such a lean meat. It's not dry at all. It's not tough. It has a slightly livery taste to it, and it actually tastes a little bit like venison.
To sweeten it, we have this rhubarb jam, yeah?
This rhubarb is amazing. Really sweet, really delicious.
Do you like it?
It's gone. I ate it all without thinking about it. What stands out to me the most is the idea that these foods are kind of irreplaceable. There's no way that you can just say, well, just eat something else. Just eat chicken.
No.
I can feel the frustration people have when outsiders say, we're gonna take this away.
Yeah.
You can't have this part of your culture anymore, this thing that you grew up with. And so I guess the biggest question I have is this sustainable?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how do you say that with such confidence?
Because they're living in the North Atlantic and we don't hunt them. We just take the few of them that comes through our fjords. How can we kill the population that's living in the total North Atlantic? We can't do it.
It's estimated that about 1 million pilot whales live in the wild today. Far fewer than 1% of that population ever swim near this tiny archipelago in a given year.
When I see what they're doing in Japan, there's a lot of people there who want to eat whale, and they're going out into the ocean, and they're looking for big whales that live in limited numbers, and they're doing it under the guise of research, but then they have to eat the animal so they don't waste the meat. And it doesn't seem like that can last forever. But here, it's just whatever happens to pass by this small island in the middle of the ocean, you get a piece of that, and that's it.
Every year, about 800 pilot whales are caught in the Faroe Islands. The Faroese authorities have accurate statistics of whale catches dating back to 1584. It's the oldest unbroken hunting statistic of any wild animal.
Do you think in 50 years from now, the glint will still be happening?
It's very difficult to say because, as you know, the culture is changing a lot.
Also, now they say that please don't eat it because it's not healthy to eat.
Because they won't eat it because of the mercury that could harm their babies. And when the wives in the house doesn't eat it, why should the men then eat it? And they're not going to start eating it when they are over 50.
Yeah, of course.
This controversial Faroese tradition doesn't notably impact the whale population. The harvesting doesn't destroy habitat. There is no bycatch, and there are 0 food miles. Still, the whale hunt remains a source of controversy. Many have characterized the islanders here as bloodthirsty barbarians killing for sport. But from what I can see, governing bodies have taken the protests to heart, altering their hunting methods to be conducted in the least painful way possible.
It's called a spinal cord lens. So the idea is you take this, point it in around a hand behind the blowhole and just stab it in.
And there would be a blade there.
There will be a blade here.
Is this the old style or the current style?
This is in current style. In the old days, they only use the knife. It can take a bit of a while.
Now, how long does this take?
As fast as you can do this. So 2-3 seconds. I'm a hunter. The first thing you do, or you want to do, is try to make as less suffering. It doesn't matter which animal, if a fish, a whale, bird, it doesn't matter. Try to kill it as quickly and humanely as possible.
Next, we're moving our focus to land-based creatures.
Do you want to take it?
Me?
One of the only farmed animals in this country are sheep.
Most people eat sheep meat here. We eat it as a delicacy and also on a daily basis too.
And here in the Faroe Islands, they cook up sheep in ways you've never seen before.
What's going on here?
Fermentation, my man.
Aging it for months until it becomes one of the most shockingly putrid, pungent delicacies I've ever seen. But before we get to that,
Black pudding, as you know.
Yeah, you know, I like a lot of different types of pudding growing up. Chocolate, tapioca, not really blood.
To make blood pudding, first you need to make the stuffing, a combination of fresh sheep's blood, an impressive mound of brown sugar, flour, and salt. Add ground cinnamon, ground cloves, raisins, rolled oats, and finally some caul fat.
Why do you think they call it pudding? I think it's a British thing, right?
Yeah, actually translated word by word is blood sausage.
That's what I'm more familiar with. The pudding thing was always hilarious to me. It was off-putting.
Once it cooks through, slice it and fry it with butter.
All right, it is very soft. Let's go. Fascinating. Really interesting flavor. It almost has a slightly bready texture. And yeah, cinnamon, sugar, some sweetness inside. That's really nice.
You can't taste the intestines at all.
No. Where'd you get the blood sausage from? Did you make it?
Yeah.
And where did you learn this recipe from?
From my mother.
Amazing. I could eat a whole freaking sausage of this.
Today, Susanne and her husband are giving me a real taste of Faroese home cooking. Their friend Jonathan is here to help.
How do you say delicious in Faroese?
Otroligt or ometelig gott. 2 words.
Do you have anything with less than 8 syllables?
No.
Oh, okay, great. So I know in the islands that fish are super important. Just the fishing industry in general is huge here and people eat a lot of fish, but how important are sheep here?
Very important.
Yeah, I think they're very important, yeah. Because most people eat sheep meat here. We eat it as a delicacy and also on a daily basis too.
Sheep are one of the only land animals that can survive the harsh, year-round weather of the Faroe Islands. It's a native breed that can put up with the consistent cold, rain, and wind.
I heard on these islands there are 2 sheep for every person.
Close to that.
Do you own any sheep?
Not anymore. I sold everything. Now I have absolutely nothing. I have a spider or 2, but that's it.
You have a stock portfolio?
No, don't.
Oh, not even that. A retirement account?
No.
Okay.
Unlike their friend, Thomas's family does own a flock of sheep. Every October, they retrieve some of the flock and slaughter them before winter comes. I'm here to experience the delightfully bizarre way the sheep is prepared.
You know, I've eaten sheep and mutton and lamb in many different countries, but never in a place like the Faroe Islands. I know here there's very different techniques for preservation, for cooking food fresh, but also for preserving meat over time, including some fermented and dry meat. Does it have a fermented smell to it?
It absolutely has. Sometimes it's so strong it makes you cough. That's the fermented smell of it.
I have a lot to learn today. First things first, we have to go get that sheep.
We have to go get this sheep and kill it.
And kill it.
Folks on these islands have a very hands-off approach to raising sheep. In fact, they do almost nothing at all, as the sheep roam freely, chomping away at the island's lush grasses. When it's time for the slaughter, the sheep are captured and brought to temporary barns where they might stay for just a day or 2.
Do the sheep here ever live in barns?
No.
Always outside, always eating fresh grass. So it costs like nothing to feed them.
No. Thomas and his brothers own this and the land around it. So.
Really?
Yeah.
So they have this property within the village, and its only purpose is to hold sheep for 1 or 2 days a few times a year. That is ballin'.
Once their short stay ends, the sheep are taken to their final destination, where slaughtering and butchering will commence.
Right here, we have Jacob, professional sheep wrangler. Right now, he has to get the one sheep, which seems like it would be easy, except for this one sheep has a lot of space to run around and try to escape. I have a very important job. When he goes in, I have to hold the door shut. Is that right?
Yes.
Jacob going in for the equally easy job. I'm gonna hold the door shut. Yep, I got that. Now he's going for the sheep. The sheep is trying to get away. It's trying to, oh no. It is panicking. It's trying to come out the wood, but it's not gonna work. You can tell Jacob's a pro. He's got it in a headlock already. He's kind of riding it like a small pony.
Back away, slowly.
Okay.
Selected sheep weigh in at about 40 to 50 pounds, while the rest are kept for breeding to ensure the cycle of life continues.
Mission complete.
So many things I love to do. There's so many things I love to do.
Back at their home, the same garage where they parked their car is about to become a slaughterhouse. During the mid-October school break, Thomas and Jacob gather for the annual slaughter.
Do you ever see people outside slaughtering sheep?
Never. Because it's also considered very bad to slaughter sheep outdoors. It will cool down the carcass immediately. Below 8 degrees, the fermentation stops. If you want to ferment the meat, it's important that you don't cool it down immediately. That will stop the bacteria to develop.
After the blood is drained, Jacob removes the shanks, then moves on to skinning.
Jacob.
Yes.
What's your speed record for butchering a sheep? Don't act like you've never thought about
I
it.
don't like to brag.
So humble. Oh, please. I insist. Just this one time, could you tell me?
The man who knows my time is took it with him to his grave.
Whoa, ominous. All right, that was dark. What are you doing now? You're reaching inside its body? Are you skinning it just with your hands?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Jacob and his father butcher about 20 sheep per year, enough to last throughout the entire next year. During this time, he's known as the butcher. But for the rest of the year, he's a boat machinery engineer.
How old were you when you first saw this process?
4 or 5 years.
And then how much therapy have you required since that time?
No.
This is what bothers me. It's like, it's so normal here.
Yeah, my father taught me, his father taught him, and that's how it rolls.
It seems like raising sheep, slaughtering sheep, it's like a normal part of daily life in the Faroe Islands.
It is. In fact, Faroe Islands mean sheep island.
Sheep have been a vital part of sustaining life on the Faroe Islands through its history, ever since the Norse settlers brought them here during the age of Vikings. Some of these ancient recipes and methods of meat preservation have survived to this very day.
I've never seen a garage like this, I must say. Like a professional slaughtering setup. You have everything you need for the whole operation right here in this garage. You know that's not like every family has that, right?
No.
I mean, is this typical in the Faroe Islands that people are slaughtering sheep in their own garage?
Yes.
Wow.
Usually, in a setting like this, certain tasks are divided among men and women. Men deal with the slaughter and skinning, while cleaning and cutting the organs is reserved for the women and the girls. Once butchering is complete, the wool will be sold, the organs will be cooked, and the coal fat will be fermented. Every scrap from the sheep will be utilized in some way, but some parts won't be utilized until months down the road.
How far back does this tradition go?
It's hard to tell, but hundreds and hundreds of years. It's just an ancient way of preserving meat.
Sheds like these, found all throughout the islands, serve one purpose: to create the ideal conditions for a controlled rot.
I'm assuming this type of room has a specific name, right?
Chocolate.
Like you couldn't turn this into an Airbnb.
Would not recommend it though, but why not? You could.
What people don't realize watching right now is this room is extremely drafty. It's not like a direct wind, but there's a draft that comes through the walls.
Exactly.
The local weather and the room itself ensure the right temperature, humidity, and airflow.
We tend to just use the nature to control the fermentation. So if it's too cold, the fermentation doesn't go well. If it's too hot, it'll be probably too fermented. Luckily, we have an average, more or less perfect climate for fermentation of meat. That's why we do it. These are slaughtered just yesterday and today, and the process of fermentation is starting now. And it will go on for 3 months. In 3 months, it will look like this.
At what point do you cut the limbs off?
For certain occasions, like December, mid-December, you start eating the ribs. And Christmas, you start eating more and more. And this last part you eat is actually the leg.
Gosh, what is it like? Do you know how you would describe that?
Hard to describe, but something very strong.
Taste this one.
And then when you cut it open, that's when the ammonia comes out. Yeah. This has such a strong smell to it. So I've just peeled the fat away quite easily. And then what remains is a semi-dry, kind of gummy, soft meat. Cheers. Oh, that's lovely. A very unique, fascinating texture. It's a melt in your mouth kind of texture. It does have a slight cheesy quality to it.
It's exactly the taste you're talking about. Some of the Scandinavian cheeses and French cheeses, they have exactly this kind of taste.
Yeah, it's where the smell is kind of offensive, but then when you bite into it, that's all gone. Speaking of extreme, what is this right here?
This is the same fermented meat, but cooked in the broiler for about an hour.
This whole room reeks of this flavor.
For us, it smells like Christmas.
It is so intense. The outside is crisped up in the oven a bit. It's fatty and juicy. Everything looks great about it, except when you take a whiff, that is intense. Cheers. Wow, I hate it and I love it at the same time. It's like my mouth reeks of dairy and old cheese.
Blue cheese taste.
Yes, the texture is outstanding. Incredibly tender, moist, succulent on the inside. And then there's just a fascinating funk that goes along with it that is like just on the edge of being overbearing. And then once it's gone, you want a little bit more again.
Exactly.
What is this?
Alcohol.
That's what we're missing.
Eat that while still have that taste in your mouth.
Oh, that's awesome. It pairs perfectly with this. How long have you had this shed in particular?
From 1988.
Wow. You would never expect it. As you look down the landscape, you see all these different houses, like you're in a small cottage. Meanwhile, between the houses, there's these places for the sheep to stay for a day or two before butchering. There's garages fully outfitted with the means to slaughter the sheep. And there's places like this fully meant just for aging meat. Is this common?
Oh, yeah.
So wild.
Soon, I'll face off with the sheep's face as the family prepares a traditional Faroe supper. But first, an appetizer that's too good to pass up.
Balls. Have you had balls before?
No.
Okay, so usually you don't eat these.
No, I don't, but a lot of people in Faroe Islands do.
Wait, why don't you?
I don't know, it's balls.
It is balls.
Though Jacob has never tasted this, particular organ, he's decided to cook them up along with garlic, paprika, steak seasoning, and pepper.
Where'd you get this recipe?
I love to cook, so put the ingredients that I like.
See, here's what you do. You go plain ball to really appreciate the taste. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
That's lovely.
It's actually good.
A little bit fatty. You got a nice little crust on the outside. Got a little bit of a crunch. These are sophisticated balls. And so usually you're throwing the balls out or just giving them to the dogs?
I give it to the dogs, yeah.
Okay, they must love that. What about whales? Do whales have balls? I don't know. Do all mammals have balls?
Never seen a whale with two big balls hanging out.
It would create a lot of drag in the water.
I know.
They wouldn't be as fast.
No.
It's quite an honor for having us here today. You have a beautiful family, beautiful home, and this is some really incredible food that I'm very honored to be trying for the first time.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Before we build up to our main course, the sheep head, I'll be trying this. This is made with sheep intestines that are stuffed with fermented caul fat. After cooking, it looks a little bit like this. It's usually paired with fermented fish, but on the Faroe Islands, potato is always a welcome choice.
Now, do you want thin slices like this? How's that? Yeah, it's like a radish. What did you really do?
I'm fine.
I'm fine, he says. I thought we might take a bite together, but...
Frolicked.
Wow.
Delicious.
It is delicious. It's very salty. It's heavy, but not enough to make you feel like you're eating a stick of butter. It is nice to mix it with a little bit of potato for some balance.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's amazing.
When's the last time you had that?
Every Christmas, actually.
Does it remind you of Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like that. I think we should move on to this over here.
Next, all the organs collected today, the stomach, the lungs, the intestines, are cooked together in one pot, along with this, sheep liver stuffed with fat and garlic. After cooking, sizzle it on a frying pan with butter, garlic, and onion.
A big basket of goodies with different shapes, different sizes, and some are super crispy, like they were just baking on the bottom of that pan forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Rich, greasy, delicious, not gamey at all so far. That first piece was delicious. Let's try this out. Wow. It's interesting because it's my first time in my life trying these types of sheep, and they don't have that usual kind of muttony, sheepy, gamey flavor.
Yes, we think so.
And we have the liver with the fat inside of it.
Garlic and fat.
That inner part is so important, having some of that fat in there and extra flavor from the garlic. Tastes like onions in there too.
Yeah.
Thank God. Sometimes I guess, and I'm wrong. It's absolutely humiliating.
Last but not least, the sheep head. First, the hair must be removed by way of torching. Then, like anyone with a fully equipped slaughterhouse in their garage, saw the head in half. The grain will be used for another dish, but the remaining head meat is braised for hours with a pinch of salt.
When he was a kid, they got the head for dinner. If they didn't eat head, they didn't get anything.
Oh wow, and the whole bottom cheek, kind of inside and outside. I'm gonna try this cheek right here. This looks amazing. It's interesting because it's not even really warm. It's kind of cooled down. It's like a little firm, a little soft. The fat is really rendered down. Very good. Very good. Here's the tongue.
You're not picky.
No, I'm loving all of this. It's very nice. I would love to try the eyeball with you. There you go. Cheers.
Very fatty, so.
Are these fermented heads? Oh, wow. That was like the most intensely fermented, slightly rancid, pungent flavor of anything I've had today. What just happened? How long has that been fermented?
10 to 12 days.
And fermenting in this case means what? It's been put...
Just left out there.
Wow, that was intense, but that's not gonna kill me? I wanted to ask you a personal question.
Yeah, no problem.
Growing up here, how was it fitting into a culture that's rather homogenous? Everyone kind of, well, not kind of, everyone looks the same basically. You look different.
Jacob and his sister were adopted by Thomas and Susanne at a young age. They came here from Colombia, and they've lived here ever since.
For me, it was hard because my father is white and my mother is white. And when I got my first child, Thomas, my son, that was, I think, one of the happiest moments in my life. Now somebody looks like me, and who's your son? He's my son. He wanted us adopted as young as possible. When I got into that age, they told us everything. I think that has helped us a lot. Someone gave me life, but my parents gave me the opportunity to live it. Because he's my dad, that's 100% sure. And the same with mom. I couldn't have asked for better parents.
The Faroe Islands have a fishing and hunting culture that goes back forever.
Pew pew.
The rich waters of the Atlantic Ocean provide an endless bounty of seafood.
Look at this.
And seabirds.
They look like they're painted. They look cute and perfect.
There. Ah, yeah, the sneaky fuckers.
Today, I'm on a mission to experience rare Faroe foods you won't find anywhere else.
This bird was suffering from anxiety, and I believe it's cured.
Yes.
From actual dolphin meat.
When the weather is bad, this is, a man's breakfast.
To hunting one of the most elusive seabirds in the world.
Where the fuck did he go?
The puffin. It all starts here.
Refrigerator tours here in Faroe Islands are epic. Men's Health on YouTube, they do these fridge tours, and they're always like, I have oat milk, here's some broccoli. No.
I don't have oatmeal here.
This is Torek, expert fisherman and hunter. Later today, he'll guide me as we go bird hunting in the open ocean.
You can't see, but these are puffins.
So this is what we're going for later today.
Hopefully. This is fermented sheep spine and neck.
Whoa.
Looks brutal, but it tastes delicious. This is the neck. Marinated pilot whale. So what's here? Oh, there's more whale meat. Don't know what this is. And then we have the dolphin meat.
Dolphin meat?
Yes.
How'd you acquire dolphin meat?
It's the same way as we do with the grid, or a pilot whale.
We've already witnessed how the Faroese drive pods of whales to the shore and slaughter them for the purpose of consumption. The same process is conducted when a pod of dolphins is spotted swimming near the islands.
It's not new. The first time they killed dolphin in the Faroes was around 200 years ago.
What animals would actually be considered bizarre or taboo to eat here on the Faroe Islands?
Yeah, that's a cat.
If people are eating it, it's part of the normal diet here. I don't see why I wouldn't do it.
Exactly. I'm putting on olive oil, so we put this straight out. Pinch of salt. So this dolphin is caught this summer. I was actually here at home. I got a call that there were dolphins in this bay. I just got, these clothes and just went straight to the beach. I got around a whole dolphin for myself. Plenty for me and my family for a few months. Sonny, I think he will be really interesting. As an American, they love to try new things, so I think he will love this.
The casual consumption of dolphin meat may catch you off guard, but for folks here, it's a significant, normal part of the Faroese diet. Hundreds of years ago, catching flipper meant having enough meat to survive another day.
I thought whale would be the most controversial thing I ate. Apparently not.
Always something new in the Faroes, right?
This tastes really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, you like it.
It's really beefy. It does have a little bit wild taste to it. Not gamey, but just something that's been not eating grain its whole life.
Exactly.
Been eating fish its whole life.
this bread is perfect complement for this.
It's soft, beefy, buttery, no fish taste to it whatsoever. And it's consistently soft throughout this huge portion of protein. So today, you're taking me hunting. Specifically, if we can, we're gonna try to get the puffin. What is it that separates the puffin from other birds?
The beak. They look like they're painted. They look cute and perfect in a way. So there are many people who don't like that we eat those because you can't eat a beautiful animal, right?
Oh, is that also controversial?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Of course it is.
Now it's time to hunt.
That was time off.
But first we gotta get ready.
Before the hunt begins, Torik's getting me familiar with our weapons in none other than the weapon room.
Welcome to the gun room.
Yeah. Welcome to the gun room. The guns we're using, they're all 12 gauge. This is mine. And I think you're gonna use this.
The junior shotty?
This is for the real men.
How do I cock it? Like in the movies?
Oh, you can't. Like this? That's about it.
Oh, okay. Wait, what do I, huh?
Sounds a bit manly.
Like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Get out my property.
With our weapons packed, we're ready to go up against our biggest adversary yet. A foe no firearm can protect you from. She's mercurial, she's ruthless, and she's taking the lives of thousands. I'm talking about the open sea. This is the first day of puffin hunting season, and though you've likely seen footage of puffins on cliffs during mating season, right now, our best bet is heading out into the open ocean, miles from land. We have all that we need for the hunt, except maybe one thing: the weather.
My dude, we're hunting. How are these conditions? Is this pretty typical, or is this good? Is it bad?
This is goodish.
Understanding the weather here can be the difference between life and death. Under this powerful wind, the waves are becoming taller and more lethal, especially as you head further into the open sea. Near land, the islands break the waves, meaning we'll have to postpone the puffin hunt. But there are still several prized bird species within reach. Cormorant. In Latin, the name means sea raven, a fish-eating bird. They spend big chunks of their day out at sea, and they're insanely difficult to pin down.
Now, I only know about Minnesota hunting, and we shoot birds in the sky.
This is the opposite. They're sitting on the ocean.
The strategy, is it just drive and look, creep up on them on the boat, hope they don't fly away?
Or dive.
Oh, right.
Yes, because they eat fish, so they can dive around 2 to 4 minutes down.
So how close do you have to get?
Maximum 40 meters.
Oof. What do you think our chances are for today?
Hoo-ha. 50-50.
50-50. We're going after a bird right now. Every time we get close to it, it takes off, it starts flying, it lands, we approach it, it starts taking off again. He said it's not even worth pursuing if it's flying, they're just too fast.
When the birds reappear, they're riding a Nordic wave, making them nearly impossible to hit with precision.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
They are extremely elusive. Always. You see them and then they're gone.
Oh, he's inside. This side.
Ah, way too far, but I tried anyway.
It's worth a shot. It was like right above the water. All right, it's in front of us. Oh, it just went down.
Helvete! It went down when I shot.
Oh, it's so far.
Right there.
There it is.
Yeah!
Oh my God. Nice work, bro.
Thank you.
First bird of the season. It was just diving. I mean, these birds like live on the water.
They are more fish than birds, actually. This is maybe 5-8 years old. You can tell by the look of the feathers.
And is this good eating?
Personally, I think they're really good, yeah. Of course, they're wild birds, so they're gamey. But if you like gamey, then this is perfect.
All right, this is a great start.
With Torik's tutorial complete, it's time for me to take a crack at it.
It's so far away.
No, it's good. There, really close. You were too low.
I had the perfect shot. All right, I think I got one shot left. Is it right there?
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd get the chance to actually hunt anything or shoot anything today, but boom, take a look at this. One cormorant, mark me down. You trained me well.
Yeah, really well. Too well, I think. Now I'm fired.
Weather in the Faroe Islands doesn't care if you have an outdoor wedding, picnic plans, or that you flew here from halfway across the world to hunt puffins. If you're true Faroese, you'll take these setbacks in stride and focus on what you can actually control in that moment.
The first thing you do is cut the wings.
You eat that?
No, just it's easier to clean.
Oh, okay. What about chicken wings? Do you eat chicken wings?
That was plan B. If we didn't catch anything. Then the neck.
Throughout the day, the weather's only been getting worse.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow, we'll have our last shot at tracking down the prized puffin. But for now, a bird in the hand is worth two in the open sea.
The weather wasn't so good. Horrifying, actually. But at least we have dinner.
Back at Turek's home, cooking is underway. Step 1, butchering. Turek picked out his two favorite parts, the legs and the breasts.
I think the breasts are the best. Breasts are the best.
The breasts are flavored with salt and onion salt, then fried in olive oil.
Chewy. Chewy, a little bit lean, certainly not overcooked. Even better if you're not eating it like a caveman like me. I think if you cut it into thinner slices,
A little bit better, yeah.
you put great spice on there. I like it's just very straightforward.
Try to give the bird a chance.
The interesting part is it's a breast, but it tastes like dark meat. In fact, I can't even say like, oh, it's chickeny.
No, it's a sea chicken.
The legs, or drummies, are seared with salt, pepper, and thyme.
You can see they're swimmers. These are the back legs, of course.
Yeah, like it's got giant hamstrings.
A bit chewier, same neutral taste.
It's kind of like a really lean beef steak. It's weird. It's a bird. No weird cartilage or fat, just like one consistent texture all the way through. You think the puffin has a more dramatic flavor?
Yeah, 100%.
Puffin hunting day 2. Tomorrow, we fly out, so this is our final opportunity to take on this elusive seabird. Luckily, the weather and waves have gone from deadly to barely safe, so into the open sea we go. The Atlantic puffin is among the most populous bird species in the Faroes. Right now, during breeding season, there are up to 1 million puffins here.
Come on.
They hunt and eat small fish, and they're built for it, able to maneuver underwater and hold their breath for minutes.
No!
It went down.
Beyond this, they're less than half the size of a cormorant, meaning they're a very small target. The puffin's only dead giveaway, their giant triangular beak.
Just now he's trying to shoot this bird out here, but the waves are going up and down so much that it's hidden half the time.
Ah, bastard. And also, the birds are moving up and down.
That's the point. We're moving up and... Oh my God! The birds are moving up and down, we're moving up and down, and now everyone's wet. So, let's see what we can do. 12 o'clock. Come on, you got it. No! What are you waiting for? Straight ahead. Boom. Smoked it. Oh shit, I see. There's 2 of them straight ahead. Oh! 2 more. Just like that. This is insane. You spend hours and hours looking around, seeing nothing, and then suddenly in the horizon you see a couple of black dots with some big triangle beaks, and then you get them. He gets them. He got one here. It's like a whole new level of difficulty. Just being on land with a gun, hard enough. So the fact that you're able to come out here, see these birds from a mile away, track them down, smoke them, is truly impressive.
The weather wasn't cooperating, but we said, you know what, we're going anyway. And it turned out really good.
There is one thing though. I heard that you can actually eat the heart raw.
You're gonna try it.
I've never had a raw bird heart.
This is really good.
I guess if you're out here for a while, you forgot your granola bars, this is a good alternative. Oh, is that it? Right there? Wow, you took that out with such precision. How'd you know where it was?
I'm a serial killer.
Oh. Not bad. A bit rare, slight irony flavor, but it still has some bite to it. It doesn't feel like jiggly and raw. Tastes like a heart.
Pumping?
Yeah, it stopped a while ago. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
The only thing left to do now is to go back, cut these up, and make some delicious food. I can't wait to see how this tastes.
The puffins are defeathered the new-fashioned way, on an industrial defeathering machine. Then they're torched to clean the remaining hair. After trimming them down a bit more, the puffins, water, and salt join a pot and simmer. After 1 hour on the stove, the puffins are ready to eat, with a compulsory side of potatoes. This is our long-awaited, well-deserved, and most definitely epic final meal here on the Faroe Islands.
You're not cold?
Me? Yeah. Summer, what do you mean?
Ah, good point.
It's dry also.
Yeah, it's freezing out here.
The breast is here, and you just cut it like this.
That meat, I've never seen breasts like that. It looks like a chicken liver. So boiling, I gotta say, this is not a judgment on your cooking whatsoever, but everything that's been cooked today has been kind of done in the way of a bachelor. Just easy, quick, straightforward. Is this like a common way to cook this?
This is the old way.
Don't wanna be the guy. No real action.
What if I just ended it there? Breast is a little bit dry, but the skin brings back some moisture to it. There's no ketchup, no mayonnaise, and there is no fermented sheep tallow.
Just this, potatoes, you forgot 1 or 5.
Wow, I love the taste.
Bit more flavor than cormorant.
It's interesting to have 2 to compare. That was really beefy, and this is much more just like a dark meat that's a little bit more on the dry side.
More gamey also?
With a little bit of game, like me back in high school. A little bit of game, not that much. All right, let's try the legs. It is amazing because the breast is pretty big compared to, look at that, that is a tiny little thigh and drumstick.
Especially the leg?
The leg's a little fishy. Wow.
Of course, they eat fish, so that's for that reason.
Do you think you taste fishy?
Sometimes.
I love the texture of the leg. There's a little bit more fat there, and the flavor is fascinating. Oh, hold on, I forgot to mix that with a potato.
Yeah, of course, yeah, don't forget that.
I noticed you've kept the head on. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, we eat the brain.
Oh, whoa. All right, this is the first time I've seen that procedure. Oh my God, I'm going right through the skull with this butter knife. Oh, take a look at that, dude. This bird was suffering from anxiety, and I believe it's cured.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a pig brain.
You think? I never tried pig brain.
Creamy, a little bit livery, has some minerality to it, and a potato. Balance. This is my final meal here in the Faroe Islands. One of the most interesting, unique places I've ever been to. It was my goal to come somewhere in Europe that people had not seen a million times before. I believe I've achieved that goal.
100%.
You grew up here, you're born here, you are Faroese through and through. So for me, I don't know if I could live here long term. And maybe if I was born here, of course, I'm sure I'd get used to it. But what is it that you love about being Faroese?
I think it's the freedom. You can do almost anything that you want. For example, hunting or the work that you want to be. Yeah. You can be literally who you are.
I love that you hunt, but you have great respect for where you come from and for the creatures here as well. So
we have to.
I've learned a lot from you, so thank you very much.
Likewise.
Dirty handshake, sip a beer, and let's go inside. Why the hell are we out here?
Wow. Yeah.
Boom, and that is the end of our Faroe Islands series, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a dream I've had for a long time to come here pre-pandemic, and boom, here we are. No pandemic could slow me down, except for by about 2.5 years. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who helped make this production possible, you guys for watching, our local producers, plus all the restaurants, families, and chefs who cooked for us and made one-of-a-kind food that I may never be able to try again. Amazing experiences. I hope you enjoyed it. That is it for this one, guys. See you next time. Peace. You know, there's still one kind of dolphin that's legal to eat that we did not eat. I'm gonna find it. Let's go.